Welcome. On this week's podcast, we've got some lucky members of the whatcar.com readers test team on hand to give us their views on the sporty, yet luxurious Infiniti brand. Peter Lawton is going to tell us about life with his Mazda 6 estate. But first, motoring news. This week's biggest story, undoubtedly, has been the scrappage scheme, which came into effect on Monday. There were some last-minute wrangles between Ford, Honda and the government about VAT issues, but now these have all been cleared up, so there's nothing to stop you going down your dealership and scrapping your old banger for a brand new car. There's a small glimmer of hope for the British car industry because both Rolls-Royce and McLaren have announced that they're going to recruit more people to help them build their sexy new cars. And finally, there's this. The brand new Volkswagen Scirocco R, boasting 261 brake horsepower and capable of 0 to 60 in 6.4, roughly, seconds. We think it's going to cost from £25,000 when it goes on sale at the end of this year. And I want one. So then, let's catch up with Peter Lawton and find out how he's getting on with his long-term test car.
Hello, my name is Pete Lawton. I'm the Group Consumer Editor of What Car. Welcome to my marvellous Mazda 6 estate. Three things I absolutely love about the boot are this cover, which automatically raises and lowers with the tailgate. Very nifty. These little buttons, which flip the seats down for me without any bother at all. And the fact that when you do, it's absolutely massive. There's still lots of space with the seats in place, which is a good job considering how much garbage I seem to need to haul around. It would be nice if there were some low bay partitions so it didn't slide around all over the shop, but then you can't have everything, I guess. Perhaps I'll just need to carry even more junk and wedge it all in. I really like the way the car drives. The steering is good, the ride is nice and firm so it's fun, although that does make it a bit bumpy over speed bumps and rough surfaces. It's also a little bit noisy, clutch is a little bit heavy and the gearbox is a little bit notchy, but I'm being really picky. I actually really like the car. Next week, Leo Wilkinson will let you know how we're getting on with our new Honda Insight petrol-electric hybrid.
Now, Infiniti is probably the world's most famous car brand that you've never heard of, but from this summer onwards, they're going to start appearing on UK roads. We've got two new Infinitis here today. First off, there's the G37 Convertible, and then there's the EX37, which is a kind of sports SUV coupe crossover. But the question is, what do the firm but fair members of the What Car Reader test team really think?
I was very surprised. I like the design a lot, and I think it looks better than it does in the pictures. And certainly the interiors are really good. They look really high quality. Where I've been less convinced is the kind of quality of the finishing. And I'm talking about the finishing of quite small things, but for example, the seams inside, and particularly on the convertible, where they're just not quite finished, not spray painted in the areas where you'd like them to be painted.
I think they're very nice quality cars. I am a bit disappointed with the grille though. I think it tends to say made in the Far East somewhere to me, and I'm afraid I'm a bit more German luxury brand.
I think I'm quite impressed, to be honest, at the beginning. Definitely a notch up from the usual Japanese vehicles that we see now. I'm not quite sure if it's up to the German standards of the big boys from Germany, to be honest, but definitely a move upwards, to say the least.
I particularly like this Infiniti because it's a brand new model in their range. The G series obviously has been around for some time, but the EX, I think, especially with their unique technology that's come out with it in the car, is a strong player for Infiniti in the European market, I would say.
The Infiniti range will start to arrive in the second half of this year, but you can have a look at the family of cars and reserve your favourite model at infiniti.co.uk. On next week's whatcar.com podcast, we've got life with a Honda Hybrid, 3 of the fastest Fords ever built and the latest motoring news.